Namaskaram. Welcome to day 41 of the Save Soil journey. So today being Amavasya, I hope you are able to make use of this day today. Yesterday we looked at how the energies, specifically on Amavasya and Paurnamis, on these nights, the way the energy behaves in the human system, there's a natural upsurge of energy and one can make use of it by spending more time. So hope you were able to do that. And today I just thought that we could cover in depth about Rudraksh. And since there are so many aspects about Rudraksh, I'll just see if we can break it up into a few parts so that it becomes easier for people. And we've been receiving so many queries about Rudraksh, so I thought it would be nice if you could make a few videos about the same so that people can benefit. So first of all, today we'll look at what is a Rudraksh and how one can benefit from the same before we move on to other aspects. So Rudraksh, I think most of you would have at least seen one. If you are not wearing one, at least you would have seen one. So this is something which comes from the Rudraksh tree, which is more grown in the Himalayan regions. So if you happen to visit let's say Nepal, you will see that whichever place you go in Nepal, I had been to Kathmandu and I noticed that there are so many shops selling Rudraksh because it is abundantly grown in the Himalayan region. It is also some Rudraksh trees are also grown in the Western Ghats. So you will find some Rudraksh trees out there as well, but the best quality ones, they generally come from the Himalayan region. So you will find most of the Rudraksh coming from there. So this is a very powerful seed, and it has a unique vibration. And you may have noticed people wearing this, especially people on the spiritual path. You may have noticed sadhus, seekers, sannyasis, many of them wearing this, and you may be wondering that whether this is something which you can wear or not. So in today's video we can address these things and we can see whether this is something which you can benefit from. So Rudraksh is something which all of us can make use of. It doesn't matter whether you are a seeker or you're someone who's living a normal day-to-day life. This is something anybody can benefit from. There are innumerable benefits which one can derive just by wearing a Rudraksh. So one of the things which happens when you wear a Rudraksh is that it lowers your blood pressure, it calms your nerves, it makes you much more relaxed and calm. It affects the nervous system, and you'll see that just by wearing a Rudraksh, it just brings about a certain change in your aura as well. It cleanses you, and even if you have children at home, even they can benefit from this. If they wear the Rudraksh, you will see that their ability to focus, their ability to focus, memory, and also how calm they are, and also getting love from the parents. So you will see these things can also change for children. If they wear Rudraksh, children also can benefit from it. So it doesn't matter who you are, anyone can benefit by wearing a Rudraksh. Apart from these benefits, there are other benefits as well which one can derive by wearing a Rudraksh if it is from a proper source. So few other benefits which you can gain by wearing a Rudraksh are, see, one thing is that it also protects you from negative energies. So this is something you may have heard about people casting negative spells or energies just to people who have mastery over these occult practices, etc. So they can do this, they can cast negative spells, etc. So this is just like something which protects you from all these negative energies and other stuff like this. So if you wear a Rudraksh, even if accidentally something like that hits you, this acts like a shield. It protects you from negative energies. So that is something which you can derive from wearing a Rudraksh. Apart from that, if you have seen sages, seers, etc., they used to use the Rudraksh for just because they travel mostly they travel and they have to drink water from different places. So they use it as a test, used it for testing the water whether it is fit for consumption or not. So the one unique quality about the Rudraksh is that it can recognize whether something is positive, negative, or zero pranic in terms of food. So if you place it over a positive pranic food or water, you will see that it will rotate in a clockwise direction. If you place it over a negative pranic substance, it will rotate in an anti-clockwise direction. And if you place it over a zero pranic substance, it swings back and forth like a pendulum. So generally when sadhus and seers want to drink water from a pond, they were not sure whether it was fit for drinking or not. So they should test it with the Rudraksh. If they place it over the water and if it rotates in a clockwise direction, that means they knew that the water is fit for drinking. So they used to have the water. If it rotated in an anti-clockwise direction, they knew that it was not fit for drinking. It was poisonous or something. So they avoided it. So this is another benefit of using the Rudraksh. You can even use this if you want to test any food item. As you know, in yoga we classify food as positive, negative, and zero, where positive pranic foods like fruits, vegetables, etc., and negative pranic foods are onion, garlic, chilies, hing or asafoetida, brinjal, nervous stimulants like tea, coffee, etc. So if you test it with the Rudraksh, you will see how it behaves differently, and zero pranic like potato and tomato. So if you test it with a Rudraksh, you will see it will behave differently for positive, negative, and zero pranic. So that is also something which you can benefit by wearing a Rudraksh. So these are just few of the benefits which you can gain. Another thing is if you are traveling. See, generally people on the spiritual path, they always were traveling to different places, and one of the rules was they should never, sleep in the same place. So every day they used to travel to some other place and sleep, and like this they were traveling. So what happened when if they wear a Rudraksh, it creates a cocoon of their energies, so that wherever they are traveling, it kind of creates a cocoon of their energy and they can easily settle down in any new place, which normally doesn't happen for people. If you have been used to sleeping in a certain space, now if you travel, maybe the energies over there are not conducive for you to settle down and you may not get sleep. Even though you may be tired, you will still be unable to sleep. You may have noticed this especially if you're traveling to different places. But if you wear a Rudraksh, then you'll notice that even if you're traveling and if you have to sleep in different places, it just helps you to effortlessly settle into any space, because it creates a certain cocoon of your energy, and wherever you go, it builds a certain cocoon of energy and it helps you to settle down easily. So apart from that, there are different types of Rudrakshas which has certain different benefits, and Rudrakshas are classified according to the number of beads which they have. So beads or faces. So it starts from one face or one bead, which is called as Ekamukhi or one faced Rudraksh, up to 21 beads. So you will find Rudrakshas of different types, and it is very important that when you use a Rudraksh, you buy the appropriate Rudraksh which is suitable for you. So generally for people who are above 14 years, Panchamukhi Rudraksh is the safest, because anyone can wear it. Anyone above 14 years can wear it, irrespective of whatever they are doing or their job or their profession or their path. It doesn't matter whatever it is, whether man, woman or whatever. You can definitely wear a Rudraksh which is Panchamukhi above 14 years of age. If you are less than 14 years of age, for children, it's best they wear a Shanmukhi or a six-faced Rudraksh, which is suitable for them. It helps to foster parental love, and as I said, it also assists them in focusing and improving their concentration, etc. So this is something which children can also benefit from. So if you have children at your home, see if you can bring them a Shanmukhi Rudraksh, or if you have adults, whether you have parents, grandparents, or for yourself, you can safely choose a Panchamukhi Rudraksh, and this is something you can wear at all times. So one more important thing is, when you're choosing a Rudraksh, it is very important that you choose from an authentic source, because there's another tree which is called as Bhadraksh, which is very similar to Rudraksh. You can't even make out whether it's different. It's almost similar, and it is grown in some parts of Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, etc. And for a lot of places outside, they sell this Bhadraksh, which is actually a poisonous seed, and they sell this instead of Rudraksh. So if you're not aware about this energies, if you're not sensitive enough, you may end up buying the Bhadraksh instead of the Rudraksh. So it's very important you buy from an authentic source. So please see if generally when people wore Rudraksh, they generally took it from a person like a guru who knew what they are doing, and they used to energize the Rudraksh differently for different people based on what their path. For example, person who's on the path of a family path, they would have a different kind of Rudraksh. For person who's on the path of sannyasa or brahmacharya or ascetic path, they would have a different kind of Rudraksh. So right now these things are not happening much, and people are just buying from a shop without having an idea about things. But even if you're doing that, it's important you buy from the right source, because this is something which can impact your energies, and you need to be wearing the right one. So at Isha also they have this available. You can even look at it at ishalife.com. They have different kinds of Rudraksh like Panchamukhi Rudraksh, Shanmukhi Rudraksh. Those of you who are part of the Mahashivratri events, you may have even heard about the Rudraksh Diksha, where they were distributing these Adiyogi Rudrakshas for free. They were sending it across India. So if you have gotten that, that is also Panchamukhi Rudraksh. It's a 5-faced Rudraksh. You can even wear that safely. So these Rudrakshas available at Isha, they are consecrated and energized. So they go through a certain process of energizing in the Dhyanlinga temple. So you can safely wear them. It will be beneficial for you. So you can choose one of these Rudrakshas which is available, which is either Panchamukhi for adults, Shanmukhi for children. If you have got the Adiyogi Rudraksh from the Mahashivratri event, which is a Panchamukhi Rudraksh, you can wear that. Or there is also something called as Gauri Shankar Rudraksh, which can be worn. This is like, it's like two beads fused into one. So that is also something which will be very beneficial. It brings aids in prosperity. You can even wear that. Dvimukhi Rudraksh can be worn by a couple. Both the husband and wife should wear it. It fosters their relationship. So that's also something which can be worn. So there are different types of Rudrakshas which are available. You can look it up on their website and choose whichever one you're comfortable with. You'll also see that the sizes of the beads are different. Some Rudrakshas will be having a bigger bead size. Some Rudrakshas will have a smaller bead size. You'll see that the smaller beads are a little more on the higher side in terms of cost, because they are much more difficult to source. So that is why there's a cost difference as well. But in terms of quality and effectiveness, it's same whether you have a bigger bead or you have a smaller bead. So that's something which is same. So you can safely make use of it, whichever you can choose. Generally, it's said that for people, especially adults, if you wear a mala, a Rudraksh mala, then you should have a minimum number of beads. You should not wear any random number of beads. I think it is above 84. So you should choose any mala which has minimum that number of beads. You will see in many Rudrakshas it has 108 beads plus one bindu. So bindu is also very important, because bindu is something which helps to balance the energies of the Rudraksh. Otherwise, if you just have the Rudraksh without the bindu, then the energy can become cyclical and it can make you dizzy. So generally, to balance this, they put a certain bead which is called as the bindu, which so suppose you have 108 beads in a Rudraksh mala, they'll also put one extra bead called as the bindu, which helps to balance the energies. So that's something which you can take care of. If you look from Isha Life website, you'll see that always these Rudraksh malas will have a bindu as well, and most of them will be having more than 84 beads. So that is something which you can choose, or otherwise you can just wear the single Rudraksh. And when you wear this Rudraksh, you can either wear it using a thread. So generally it's best to use a silk thread. Silk thread is the ideal if you are using a thread to weave together the Rudraksh beads, and or otherwise a cotton thread. If you are also choosing to use a silver chain or a copper chain or a gold chain, that is also fine, as long as they are not tightly packed together. Otherwise the Rudraksh may become brittle and crack. So it's important that you choose something where the beads are together, but the beads also, you should notice that the beads should not be far apart from each other. Ideally, it's best if the beads are together. it's like touching. The beads should be touching for the Rudraksh to get maximum benefits from the Rudraksh. So you may have come across, like, for example, there will be, just show you. For example, here if you see between the beads there's so much space, right? So generally that's something which is not suggested. It's best if there is, if the beads are touching each other. If all the beads are touching each other, you can get maximum benefits from the Rudraksh. You may have also, or you can wear just a single Rudraksh like this. This is the one which they gave in the Mahashivratri time as part of the consecration, Adiyogi Rudraksh Diksha, part of the Rudraksh Diksha. So I think those of you who attended the Rudraksh Diksha, there was an initiation as well where Sadhguru gave a sadhana which you can do with this Rudraksh daily. So hope you are able to do that. So this is something very powerful. You can make use of it. You will see there are various types of Rudraksh. See, if you have attended the Shivanga sadhana, then they'll be having this kind of a Rudraksh where it's a little more thicker bead. So you may have come across various kinds of Rudraksh. So you can choose whichever is comfortable for you, and you can wear this all the time. So if you've been wearing one, please share with us how has been your experience so far. And in the next part of the series, we'll look at few more things in terms of Rudraksh, in terms of how to condition it, how to maintain it, and few things which you need to take care of. So would be happy to hear from all of you about your experience wearing a Rudraksh, and please share with us in the comment section, and I'll also post a link in the comment section about where you can get this Rudraksh from Isha Life. So we'll meet you tomorrow, and hope all of you are tweeting and sharing about Safe Soil. So let's continue that for the next 60 days at least. Namaskaram.